Sean, I've read somewhere, Sean, that there's two things that motivate people, right? You've probably heard this before: fear and greed, right? You've heard this before?
Absolutely.
So I think one of them makes you stupid. Greed. Would you agree or not?
Yeah.
So yesterday, we talk about soccer, and what is my favorite thing about soccer?
What's your favorite thing about soccer? The stupid soccer tie. When I told you one of those three would, and it did.
Stupid soccer tie. So rewinding back to fear and greed, yesterday, if we had taken the three teams, like I said, and just went ahead and did the fearful way, the cautious way, not the greedy, stupid way, all three came in and was plus 278. Like plus 278 is not enough. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I've got to have the 758 plus because I had that greed button on full tilt. And then, of course, I'm watching the games on my phone, and I see, New England's kicking some butt. They're winning 5-1. Plus 140. Why not just take New England by itself plus 140? It was my favorite of the three anyway. I think I mentioned that yesterday.
Yep.
And then I'm watching the Columbus game. And I've been around thousands of soccer games from my son and watching him on TV and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, they're controlling the ball 60% of the time. They're getting 2 shots to 1. This almost always ends in a goal, right? At least one goal in the course of the game. And most goals are scored in the second half of soccer games. So I figured, I'm going to get the late goal. The other team's going to tire out. They'll get one on net because they're dominating the game. No, I picked the only game in all of MLS yesterday that's ended 0-0.
Yeah, and that's the problem with soccer. But like you said, if you could have taken the plus 260, 270 that you got and just went with your full $25, you would have made about the same amount of money anyway.
Yeah, just greedy, stupid greed. I said the other day, why do I break my own rules? And then, here I am breaking my own rules the next day. I've equated it to like a person who drinks too much the night before and the next day is praying to the porcelain god and swearing up and down that they'll never have another night like that again. And then 2 nights later, you see them out partying at the club, 2-fisting it, right?
Yeah, I thought I was getting greedy with the Tigers, but I won again with the Tigers, and I took the run line today too. So I'm soon going to be wearing Tigers jerseys on here if they keep winning for me. I mean, 5 of my 24 wins are from the Detroit Tigers. Who would I ever thought?
Well, you gotta go on and get some of that drip, as the kids call it, right? You got to get that Tigers hat.
So what I'll have to look at next is the matchups and whether maybe I'm doing both, but to either still fade the Rangers because they seem like a good play to keep playing against, or see what the Tigers got in front of them.
Well, yeah. Plus, the matchup for Detroit, you might get some value with them because maybe people haven't caught on yet that they're not that bad. Like I said, I think they had a winning June. First time they've had a winning month in a while, and they got to play Texas a lot post.
That's the other thing.
So
was it?
July might not be a bad month either.
Yeah, exactly. That would be the thing. Was it the matchup, or are they really turning things around?
Well, I think I think the last 6 weeks says that they're probably getting better, and that they're going to do to bad teams what they did to the Texas team, and they're going to just mop them.
Yeah, and I almost faced that again with that whole cash out thing. Tigers were rolling; they were up like 5-1, and I could have cashed out for 90% of what I was going to win, and I left it go. And then you look up, and it's 6-4, 7-5, yeah, and it got close, but still won.
Greed kicked in, but this time greed won. It didn't make you stupid. It's only stupid when it works against you. Otherwise, it's the right way.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's see how we can get greedy today. And there's not a whole lot to get greedy about anyway. So Major League Baseball today. It's kind of a limited schedule. Let's take a crack at some of these games out here today. See if this button will work. It's a little bit delayed, kind of like my brain today, but my computer's been giving me crap all day. So forgive me if things go a little glitchy. First game on the board is of the few games that are on the board, Atlanta versus Philadelphia. What is going to happen in this game, Sean? Any kind of trend that you like here?
Not really, but I want to take the Braves, but the price is too high to take them. We got Charlie Morton. I know you love Charlie Morton going 5 innings. But the Braves should be able
and get that Braves bullpen to work.
Yeah, the Braves should be able to win this game. I just don't see any price that I like to take here.
Yeah, looking at it right now, the Braves are taking about 4% of the bets. Dollar amount is pretty even, so the sharps, so to speak, aren't really on either side of this game. They're kind of undecided, in line with the bettors. From my perspective, the Phillies have the advantage in the power line number. They have the advantage in the run line, but Vegas is making you they're giving me a little too much value in the Phillies at plus 110. And I feel like, Vegas baits you. This feels like a line where they're trying to bait you into taking the Philadelphia Phillies. So I'm not biting today. That green button in this particular game is not working for me. Another day, maybe. Next game up on the docket is the San Diego Padres versus the Miami undecided Marlins. And I know you love when there's not a starting pitcher.
Yeah, no, not at all. But Miami's been struggling offensively. San Diego was tearing it up, and they've been, shut down the last game or two. Snell's going for the Padres. I'd lean towards the Padres, but I'm not making any official bet here with not knowing who's pitching for Miami.
Well, I do know who's pitching for San Diego, Blake Snell, and he's probably going to be better than anything that the undecided Marlins are going to put out in the mound. I almost wonder if this is becoming like a strategy for the Marlins, because it seems like day after day their pitcher is undecided, right?
Yeah, it's unbelievable how many they should have more roles in place like they do with the injury reports, as far as being able to list a pitcher more than an hour or two before game time.
Well, I look at Snell over the past few years. His ERA has definitely been higher before the All-Star break than it is after the All-Star break. So I'd expect you're going to see Snell start to pitch like the pitcher that the Padres were hoping that they would get. And looking at this particular game, Tampa Bay is 26-13 against teams that are under 500. Meanwhile, Miami is a whopping 20-34 against teams that are over 500. I think that Tampa Bay because of Snell. San Diego is going to win this game. Looking at the matchup, I think the line right now is spot on at I'm seeing minus 139. I think that's actually a little bit of value for San Diego. So I'm going to do it official bet $25 on the San Diego Padres and Blake Snell in the one Major League Baseball game that I like today.
And what we got, minus 143 or something like that?
Well, it looks like the only line I see is on Bet Online is minus 139. So we'll go with that.
Okay. Yeah, that's not bad value.
No. But one thing that we're going to talk about a little later on tonight is we have a great guest coming on the Horse Racing Radar podcast, The Player's Edge. In that, you may have recognized the person in the show Action. Tell us a little bit about our guest, Sean.
Bill Krackomberger, professional sports bettor. Like you said, you discovered him on Action. He's got
Showtime series. If you haven't seen it, you got to check it out if you're a degenerate. He's got a website, Crack Wins. He's got a couple big things. He's big on Twitter. You can find a lot of things if you just YouTube his name. The guy seems as real as he is on TV. Actually, the one interview I watched, he said the reason he liked Action is they let him do his thing. 98% of that was true him. The only thing that wasn't was, he went to the casino and placed a couple bets. Usually he would just use his phone, but 100% real. One of the things he said, and I think is probably really important, well, it is really important because over time it might be incremental, but pennies add up. So he said, always make sure that, you have an idea of where the best lines are and get the best line that you can for your, if you're going to lay your money out there, because $5 here, $10 there, $100 here, $100 there, depending upon your unit over the course of a year can add up to a lot of money. So make sure you're getting the best line. So the best line for me is San Diego minus 195, 139. Yeah. The other thing that amazed me watching some of this stuff was he makes the bets and he doesn't necessarily watch the games. He avoids the whole high blood pressure and stuff by watching the games. He just wants to know the score at the end. I'm getting more and more like that too, because it just drives me nuts. Watching, like I said, you get a closer in there in San Francisco. Last night, you're always in this weird spot, right? I was on the Dodgers. I said yesterday I didn't like anything in baseball. I really didn't like it. So that's why I only did a small, fractional thing on the Dodgers last night on the run line. And I'm watching it, and the Dodgers are up 1. It's the top of the 9th. So you're rooting for San Francisco to score 1 run so they can go into those extra innings, put that guy in second, and someone knocks one out of the yard to win the game. It's the only way you can win. And I know everybody's been through that where they're running through the scenarios in their head. And, of course, Hanley Jansen comes in, and for all those people who are on the Dodgers on the regular run line, regular money line, watch him come in, give up a hit, give up a homer, give up a double, give up another hit, and the next thing you know, the Dodgers are down and they get beat. So it seems to me anymore, like watching the games, there are no more clean wins. It just seems like when the closers come in, if you feel like it's a 1, 2, 3, there's no more Lee Smith, there's no more Bruce Sutter, there's no more Mariano Rivera's in that closing spot anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, I went outside before I came on, and Texas was up 2 before the 9th inning, and I was surprised they came in. And actually, what you're talking about, it must have been a quick 1, 2, 3 because they're shaking hands and everything. And I'm like, wow, that was quick. So
yeah,
it doesn't happen much.
Well, you're very happy when you're on that side of it for sure. Yeah. So let's see. Are you on any side of Tampa Bay and Cleveland? I'm not.
I see value here with Cleveland. You're getting plus 150.
121, 122. That's about where the line is now. 125 at Bovada. So we're going to stick with that, getting the best line that we can.
Okay, yeah. So I had plus 115, plus 125 even sounds better. Mm-hmm. Pitching matchups about even. Tampa's. I feel like these teams are kind of going opposite directions. Tampa, I'm not really impressed with Tampa. They still got the good record and everything. Cleveland's starting to hit better. So I think that might be the difference here, and I'm going to take Cleveland.
For real? Officially?
Yeah, officially.
Yeah, for me, this is a tough spot. Tampa has the power ranking edge. The Indians have a slight home-away run differential, very, very, very small. And this is another spot where Vegas is kind of giving you value with that line with the Cleveland team. It always scares me when Vegas is giving you something, right? Why are they giving me something? That's because I feel like they want you to take Cleveland. And if they want me to do something, and I've said this before, so it's going to probably become old, but if I get the feeling Vegas wants me to do something, I'm either going to do the opposite or nothing at all. And in this case, I'm going to do nothing at all.
That was the other thing that if you watch a lot about that Bill Krackomberger, he'll say the same thing. You always got to be on the other side. You got to be on Vegas's side, not the public side.
And I feel like, for a lot of people, the question is, I had a good friend of mine. His father was a professional blackjack player way, way back in the day. I was like 15, 16 years old. And I used to ask him, Mr. G, I don't want to give out his last name, but how do you make money playing blackjack? He said, Rich, you have to have more money on your winning hands than you do on your losing hands. And I thought, well, that's a stupid answer. Of course, right? If I knew which hands were going to win, Mr. G, and I knew which ones were going to lose, why would I ever play a losing hand? And he explained to me it's not about, what hands you play and what you don't play. At the time, he counted cards because they were still using one deck, and he used a progressive money management system. But it was all about probability, and he pointed me to the books sitting next to the toilet to read them when I was at his house. So I did, and that's really how I got involved in all this sports betting and horse racing and all that, thanks to Mr. G. And the funniest thing is, he's probably the straightest person I ever met in my life. Never had a drink, never smoked nothing. Every business deal was to the I, dotted the, crossed the T's, everything. But yet, one of the things he loved to do is play blackjack for a living. So it was a pretty cool thing. Yankees and Boston.
I got nothing on this one. This has been a series one of those I've kind of stayed away from.
Mm-hmm. Well, you are getting a little bit of value. I mean, this is a line where I feel like you can take Boston at minus 140, except the Yankees I was surprised to see this, the way I do my rankings, a slight advantage in the home away power rankings. They've apparently built their resume up a little bit in the last couple of weeks. And if I'm not getting a check mark across the board, I stay away. That's a negative in my column. I'm not going to take the Yankees, though. If I were going to take this game, I would probably lean Boston because Boston has dominated the Yankees all year long. I'm just not ready to make that move. And right now, looking at the money in that particular game, the 60% of the bets are all on Boston. But even more surprisingly, more than 75 cents out of every dollar is on Boston. So the smart money is all over the Red Sox in this spot. I'm close to taking the Red Sox in this spot, but I would want that line to come down a little bit back closer to its opening at minus 120.
One thing I was looking at kind of was the over. I think it's at 9.5. But that might be something I'll do on my personal account, not official bet. But I would think there's no dominant pitcher going tonight. Both offenses are really good. Boston's offense has been hot. I would think they can get to 10 runs pretty easily tonight.
Yeah, you would think so. Angels in Minnesota. I was really close to run lining this game, but then I decided just to back off altogether because there was something in the pitching matchups that I didn't like. And there's also something in the home. Minnesota's really kind of struggled against teams that are over 500. And the Angels have just murdered teams that are under 5. I think they're like 20-7. So if you get the Angels against a team with a losing record and they're catching a plus line like they are today, that's proven to be a very effective combination.
Yeah, the Angels are 19-24 as an underdog, so they're not the greatest there. And Minnesota's 26-30 as the favorite. I didn't like anything here. Minnesota has a little bit of the advantage with the starting pitching. And being in Minnesota, I don't trust the Angels to steal it. And I've told you before how big of a fan I've been of the Twins this year. I can't take them in any bet.
I think too, like the Twins are something like 11-21 or something like that against left-handed pitching too. So there's a lot of reasons for me to jump off the possible run line on the Twins there because they have a pretty dominant run line advantage against the Angels. You know, when you look at the home run scored and the away run scored, but I just didn't like the fact that Minnesota can't beat teams over 500. The Angels smoke teams that are over 500. Minnesota can't win against lefties, and as you just pointed out, as underdogs, they as favorites, LA as underdogs is no good either. So you got a bunch of no goods kind of crossing each other off.
And you were right; they're 11-22 versus left-handers. So
that was off by one.
Yeah, well, that's pretty good. Pretty bad and good on your part. Yeah, that's something I couldn't back to.
I got to get something right once in a while. I mean, I get things right, but I hurt myself. I should have, like I said, I just got to. This is something I'm going to bring up tonight too. I'm going to give him a thumbs up or thumbs down to Bill on parlays. Yes, parlays, no, and I already know what his answer is going to be.
Yeah, his answer is going to be definitely no.
Yeah, probably scream at us no. San Francisco versus LA Dodgers. San Francisco, they're just trading 9-run rallies to beat the other team. 9th run rallies, not 9th inning rallies.
Yeah, the only thing I found intriguing here was, again, a really good pitching matchup. You could go with the under, but the way the series has been, I don't trust either side.
It seems like they're taking turns winning. So if that's the case, it went San Francisco, LA, San Francisco. That means LA tonight, right?
Yeah, I would think so. And if I would go one way, I'd go LA.
That's as good a betting strategy as any. Just
yeah.
Seems like it sometimes.
Should win 50% of the time, right?
Yeah, right. The Dodgers are minus 170. If you look at the tickets out there, they're taking in about 70% of the action and getting about 80% of the money. So just a slight favorite on the Dodgers in terms of where the smart or the Sharpies are playing. I think there's not a minus 170, as you know, is past my borderline, so I can't do minus 170. And the last couple of games have been so close. They're 50-50 games. And really, the series is probably where it should be, 2-1 for San Francisco. Maybe tonight, the games, there's not a 9th inning rally, and whichever team has the lead takes the final game. I don't trust Hanley Jansen in the closer spot against big games. Just not a lot for me to like there. So you have a chance with Oakland and Seattle tonight to, the late night game. Oakland is the favorite. Looks like they're about minus 140. That's the best line you can get on them now. And you can get Seattle at home for plus 130. Right now, about 60% of the bets are on the A's, but almost 80 cents on the dollar on the A's. So looks to me like everybody's putting their money down on Oakland. Are you going to put your money down on Oakland, Sean?
No, and with Bill's theory, that makes me feel good. I'm going to go another plus line here, and I'm going to take Seattle at home. Chris Flexen's been pretty good this year. Sean Manaea for Oakland's been solid, but Seattle at home been good this year. So take Seattle plus the 125. So I'll have 2 at plus 125 there.
You got a fan here who says the Phillies will beat your Braves, Sean.
Yeah, she tells me that all the time.
Well, of course, yes, dear.
Yeah.
That's the way it has to go, man. I mean, the 23 years of being married, it's the number one arsenal a man can have in his back pocket. Yes, dear.
Yeah, you just don't say that on camera or anything that can
Get you in trouble.
Be pulled up at any point.
Yeah, it's all right, man. At this point, it doesn't matter anymore. They know who you are. All right, so that wraps up the baseball for today. We'll talk a little bit about soccer. I don't know if Sean Sillery got you doing your soccer homework, or what are you doing on there?
No soccer yet.
No soccer homework yet?
No, I didn't have time today. Otherwise, I would have had one.
All right, so let's take a look at the one game that I love. There's two games, the Seattle Sounders and the Austin Football Club. I'm not big on that game. The one that I do like is the Philadelphia Union, your Philadelphia soccer team. Probably you have the banners at home. I know you got one of those, what do they call them? Fat heads on your wall of whoever the Philadelphia soccer players are. Probably the whole team, right? And the Orlando City Soccer Club. This game is in Orlando. It's going to be hot. It's going to be humid. And they're playing an Orlando team that's let up 3 goals in 6 games at home, but scored 11. And then on the other side of that, Philly has scored 7 games and 7 road games. That's 1 goal a game, right? So, but if you look at it a little bit more closely, you peel the onion layers back, you'll see that Philly scored 3 goals in 1 game and 2 goals in another game. So 5 of their 7 goals in their 7 games on the road have come in 2 games. And those were against 2 of the worst teams in the Eastern Conference of the MLS. See if you can name one other team in the Eastern Conference, Sean.
No, it's okay. My mind is fried today.
I'm just busting you, man, because I know how much you love soccer. So right now, Orlando, you can get plus 110 at Bet Online. So I'm taking, that's actually what I got in my account on DraftKings earlier in the day. So I'm taking the Orlando Football Club, Orlando City Soccer Club at plus 110 as my positive line for the day, Sean. You're going to join me on that? No parlays or anything like that. Just straight up. But, and I'm not going to do tie no bet, although I was thinking about it, but it's minus 140. I feel like I'm not going to be in another tie. I'm due for a game that has an actual result.
No, that's good. You need that. I did see on the other game you brought up, I guess a lot of players are going to be out for Seattle is what I saw.
Mm-hmm. I think some of them are like on the U.S. team or the Olympic team and stuff like that. Yeah. So you have a lot of like competitions going on that are hurting squads right now. And one thing I want to mention, I meant to talk about soccer yesterday, is 0-0 tie. I feel like that's kind of like stealing 2 hours of your life from you, right? You go to a game, they play for 90 minutes of play, 20 minutes of halftime, an hour to get there, get in your seat, half an hour to get out of the parking lot. So you're talking about 2.5, 3 hours of your life. And the game is 0-0. It's like I said, they just stole $100 in 2 hours of your life.
That is a reason, and I've told people that there's a reason I'm not a soccer fan, and that's a reason I do not like hockey. I know you're going to say about the shootout, but it is not the way to settle the game. And before, they used to actually settle on a tie. And then the other thing I don't like is when you go to a shootout, you get a point. Why should you get a point for losing?
How about if they just take each team gets to pick a player and they put them in the center and they just square off?
Well,
so the team that whoever gets to win wins.
Yeah, I mean, that might be better than what they have now.
Would draw more fans in, right? I think.
Oh, absolutely.
Everybody would be rooting for the tie. Then come on, let's go tie.
Hockey could use any boost they could get, so that would be a good idea. I always told people, teams that they could go 81 games into overtime and lose every single one, and they could make the playoffs with their 81 points. It just it's crazy to me.
Well, I have a solution to soccer, I think, and I think it would actually open up the game and allow more goals. Basically, you just say we're going to play until there's a winner, right? So that would stop teams that feel like they're playing against superior teams from just packing in their defense and just saying, we're not here to win. We're just here not to get scored on, which to me, if you felt like, okay, this is going to be a 3-hour marathon, then you would try to go for a goal. And if you try to go and get a little more aggressive on offense, you're going to have some openings. And I think some scoring would pick up if you made them play till there was a winner. Plus, that would get rid of this stupid soccer tie, and I would win more bets.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Sean. Well, one more time tonight, Sean and I will be back with the rest of the crew, Terry and Tom, for our sponsor, Horse Racing Radar. We'll be with professional sports better Bill Krakenberger, I think this is going to, I have to say, of all the shows we've done, and no offense to any other guest, but because of the story that I'll tell a little bit tonight about Action, the TV show, I feel like this is the one I've looked forward to the most of all the shows we've done so far.
Yeah, I know you were really excited yesterday, and I didn't really know who the guy was. I watched some videos today, and I got really excited about him, and we're hoping after tonight we will get him on this show as well. So,
so
awesome.
We're going to add, it's not going to be all about horse racing. We're going to ask sports betting questions. So if there's any questions that you want to ask, you can, what's the email address? moneylinemadmen@gmail.com, right?
Correct. Yep.
Well, go ahead and throw an email at us, or you can hit us up in the comment section or tweet at us at Moneyline Madmen at Twitter.
Just Moneyline Madmen on Twitter, yeah.
Or you can throw a comment at us on Facebook at Moneyline Madmen. We'll read through the questions. If there's any that we'll bring them up and we'll ask, and you get an answer to your betting question. I'm looking forward to it. We'll be on 9:30 Eastern time. You'll have to find us on the Horse Racing Radar site. So just head over to Horse Racing Radar. If you click .com, go to the bottom of the page, you'll find the Facebook. Just click on it, or you can click on Twitter, or you can search us on the YouTube for Horse Racing Radar as well. Until then, Sean, as we always like to say around here, good luck at the window, and may all of your bets be winners.